I mean, flat out, it pisses me off because my uncle was nothing but giving and nice.
Okay.
And for them to try to change the narrative, and it's basically a 4-hour hit piece. And the media has done, in my opinion, a disservice by just allowing only negative things to come out. Because there's been so much positive stuff on our side that shows these guys aren't the truth.
Tito Jackson is gone just days after honoring his brother Michael. And now things are getting real. His sudden passing shocked everyone, but what's more shocking is what his son TJ is finally revealing. It's not just emotional, it's straight up chilling. TJ is breaking his silence, lifting the lid on what really happened to Michael Jackson, what Tito confessed in private, and why the whole family's been forced to keep their mouths shut for years. And it doesn't stop there. TJ's spilling even more. He's opening up about some secret advice Michael gave him before everything fell apart. He's talking about why Katherine Jackson quietly gave up guardianship of Michael's kids behind the scenes, and how that explosive Leaving Neverland documentary flipped Michael's whole legacy upside down. This isn't just about a tragic death. This is about a legacy under attack, and a son stepping up to defend the truth. Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll hear exactly what Tito told TJ about Michael's final days, and why some fans are now convinced Michael's death wasn't just a medical slip-up. TJ Jackson, son of Tito Jackson, the late guitarist from the Jackson 5 and nephew of the King of Pop, has lived in the shadow of greatness his whole life. But according to him, being a Jackson wasn't a fantasy. It was a daily fight.
Police in Gallup say that Jackson suffered some kind of medical emergency yesterday evening and had to be taken to a local hospital where he later passed away.
In one of his most raw interviews ever, TJ dropped a bombshell about a moment that's haunted him for years. Michael's final warning: don't dance. Michael told him backstage one day, don't do it. But it wasn't really about dancing. It was a message. Michael was burnt out, worn down, crushed under the weight of needing to be perfect every single time. If he didn't go above and beyond, people tore him apart. He was a perfectionist, but he didn't want his family chasing that same impossible standard. Michael wasn't just losing sleep. He was fighting something deeper. The pressure to be superhuman, that pressure to be perfect. TJ believes it's what ultimately took his uncle's life. What my dad said about Michael's death will haunt me forever, TJ admitted. At first, he kept quiet, but after Tito passed, something in him snapped. According to sources close to the family, during a private gathering, TJ finally broke down, and what he shared shocked everyone. Just months before his own death, Tito had opened up to TJ. He didn't throw out names, but the message, it was loud and clear. Tito believed Michael Jackson was set up. Emotionally, financially, and maybe even physically. That's a heavy claim. Everyone remembers June 25th, 2009, when Michael was found unresponsive at just 50 years old in his LA home. But most don't know what came out in court later. Dr. Conrad Murray, Michael's personal physician, claimed that Michael's final word was milk, his code for propofol, the powerful anesthetic he used to fall asleep. Murray told the court Michael gave himself a deadly dose while he stepped out. But prosecutors painted a different story. They said Michael trusted Murray, and that misplaced trust is what led to his death. But TJ isn't buying the official version. He's called out the media for blindly accepting it. No questions asked. He wants to know, why wasn't there proper security? Why was Michael so visibly drained in his final weeks? And why wasn't anyone keeping a closer eye on his health? TJ isn't staying quiet anymore. In multiple interviews, he went off on the media and especially called out that Emmy-winning HBO doc, Leaving Neverland. According to him, it absolutely misrepresented who Michael really was, TJ explained. There's been so much negative and positive info from our side that proves those guys weren't telling the truth. But the media, they don't want to hear it. Now, fans are starting to question everything they thought they knew. And the truth may be way darker than anyone expected.
There's been so much positive stuff on our side that shows these guys aren't the truth.
Okay.
But the media doesn't want to hear it. And that's who cheated on my cousin.
Oh!
Yeah, and no mention of the media. They don't want to talk about that.
And that's who cheated on my cousin, TJ reportedly said. Oh yeah, it got messy. But of course, no mention of that in the media. They stay silent when it doesn't fit their story. And TJ's not the only one calling them out. Michael Jackson's estate sued HBO for a jaw-dropping $100 million, calling Leaving Neverland nothing but a posthumous character assassination. According to TJ, people who never even knew Michael are trying to destroy everything he stood for. When Michael passed, his will made it clear his mother, Catherine Jackson, was to raise Prince, Paris, and Blanket. But as the years went on and Catherine aged, the responsibility shifted. TJ stepped up and became the kid's legal guardian. And it wasn't some glamorous Hollywood move either. He already had a full house, 4 kids of his own, 2 stepkids, and suddenly he was raising 9 children, including 3 of the most famous kids on the planet. "I'm always in protection mode," TJ told Yahoo. He said people constantly try to get close to Michael's kids, but he treats them like his own. No cameras, no stunts, just real parenting. While others hit red carpets, TJ was doing school runs, showing up to parent-teacher meetings, and tucking the kids in at night. He gave them what Michael always wanted for them, a real father figure. Now here's where it gets eerie. Just 4 days before Tito Jackson's sudden death, he made one final visit to a memorial for Michael in Munich. In an Instagram post, he shared, "Before our show in Munich, my brothers Jackie, Marlon, and I visited the beautiful memorial dedicated to our beloved brother Michael Jackson." Fans are now wondering, did Tito know something? Was this his way of saying goodbye? One last tribute to the brother he never stopped grieving? And if that wasn't enough, when TJ got accepted to Wharton Business School, one of the top schools in the country, everyone thought he was set for life. But just months later, he quietly turned it down. No big statement, no press, just walked away. Why? Because family came first, period. He didn't even tell his brothers. When TJ got the news about Wharton, he only told one person, Uncle Michael. And Michael's reaction? Pure happiness. He wasn't the king of pop in that moment. He was just a proud uncle. He gave TJ parenting books, dropped advice, and even told him he wished he had started fatherhood earlier himself. When TJ's son Royal was born, Michael acted like it was his baby. He said he'd never been happier, TJ recalled. That connection, the private love, the quiet support, meant everything to him. But TJ also noticed something strange about Michael's parenting over the years. Back when they were kids, Michael would rent out entire Toys R Us stores just for the family. He'd say, "Grab a cart and fill it up." TJ laughed, remembering the time they spent $25,000 in Japan on toys. But when Michael became a father to Prince, Paris, and Blanket, everything changed. He suddenly limited them to just 3 toys each. Why? Because he didn't want his kids living like royalty. He wanted them humble. And TJ respected that so much, he raised them the same way. "It's important to me that the kids wait in line at Starbucks," TJ explained. "I don't want them thinking they're better than anybody else." And when you look at how low-key Paris and Blanket have been compared to most celebrity kids, that wasn't by chance. That was intentional. That was Michael's strategy, and TJ kept it going. Before Tito passed away, he opened up in a rare interview with The Mirror, reflecting on the world's treatment of Michael. And what he said hit hard. The world was not kind to Michael. I don't know why. It wasn't just the tabloids, it wasn't just the lawsuits, it was the entire system, working him to the bone, squeezing every ounce of energy out of him, then throwing him aside. And now, TJ's making sure that story doesn't get erased. Tito once admitted something that TJ would later repeat. Michael was surrounded by users, people who wanted his name, his money, or his silence. It was non-stop. And when TJ was asked about the last time he saw his uncle, the memory still hit hard. He said they were at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Michael looked drained. "He'd been up all night reading," TJ shared. "He looked sad." When TJ asked what was wrong, Michael said he had just read about a tragic plane crash. Kids had died, and it broke his heart. That's the kind of person he was. Sensitive, empathetic, always carrying the weight of the world. But under all that love was deep exhaustion. Tito saw it, TJ saw it, and both believed Michael's heart had been breaking long before it actually stopped. There was nobody truly looking out for him. That's the real tragedy TJ exposed. "He didn't trust people anymore," TJ said, "and that's what scared me the most." Michael had become isolated, cut off, and while the public saw a superstar prepping for 50 shows at London's O2 Arena behind the scenes, Michael was silently battling chronic insomnia, mental burnout, and addiction. TJ didn't hold back. He said Michael's circle was packed with yes men. No one told him to slow down. No one protected him. And when Michael died, the family didn't just lose the world's biggest star, they lost someone they never got the chance to truly save. If there's one thing that still haunts TJ, it's how the world mocked Michael in his final years. The surgeries, the soft voice, the wild rumors, the sleep habits, it all became tabloid bait. But none of it captured the real man. Michael was the type to spend hours talking about global hunger, war, or local tragedies. He felt everything. That's why he couldn't sleep. His mind never stopped. And now, even after death, TJ says people are still pushing twisted stories. These so-called documentaries, he said, they win awards, but they destroy lives. That's exactly why TJ launched the Jacksons' Next Generation, not for fame, but to humanize Michael, to show the world who he really was. A loving, generous, deeply empathetic soul who died trying to give more than his body could handle. We've all heard Dr. Conrad Murray's claim that Michael's last word was milk, his nickname for the powerful anesthetic propofol. But according to TJ, there's something way more disturbing, something the media never picked up. In a private moment just weeks before his death, Michael allegedly told TJ and his brothers, "I don't feel safe anymore. I feel like they're watching me." TJ never forgot those words because Michael wasn't talking about fans or paparazzi. He was talking about the industry, the people closest to him, the system itself. And the most chilling part, Michael allegedly warned them that if anything ever happened to him, it wouldn't be an accident. Now jump to Tito's sudden passing, and fans are connecting dots fast. Let's talk about where he died. Gallup, New Mexico. Not some Beverly Hills mansion or luxury suite. It was a quiet stop, out of the spotlight. Allegedly, while traveling between Oklahoma and New Mexico, a witness flagged down a police officer outside a strip mall saying Tito needed help. Minutes later, he was gone. Local police confirmed that Tito suffered some sort of medical emergency and was rushed to a nearby hospital where he later passed away. But the timing? That's what's got people talking. Just 4 days earlier, Tito had shared a heartfelt tribute at Michael's memorial in Munich. The post, emotional, the vibe, almost like a final goodbye. Now, fans are asking, did he feel something? Did he know? Coincidence? Maybe, but for a family that's seen more than its fair share of mystery and loss, nothing feels random anymore. But TJ says that whole week before his dad passed, Tito just wasn't himself. He was quiet, distant, and emotional. Looking back, TJ said it felt like he was carrying something heavy, but never said what. Meanwhile, Paris was spiraling, and TJ had to step in hard. After Michael's death, Paris Jackson became the public face of his grieving children. But behind the cameras and stage smiles, TJ says she was barely hanging on. Years later, Paris herself opened up about battling PTSD, surviving a suicide attempt, and feeling completely crushed by the weight of her father's legacy. And through it all, TJ, more than just Uncle TJ, had to become her anchor. At one point, he even pulled her out of a toxic Hollywood party after a tip from someone close to the family. The media never touched the story, but inside the Jackson circle, that night changed everything. Michael wasn't just a performer, he was spiritual. Everyone knows him as the king of pop, a dance icon, a perfectionist. But TJ says Michael's real power came from something deeper. He was obsessed with energy, nature, balance, and peace. He didn't just read music books, he read about philosophy, art, and even explored spiritual texts and the occult. That influence? It's all over TJ's new solo work, especially his EP Last Night. The track Insomnia isn't just about sleepless nights. It's about finding peace in the middle of chaos. Michael once told him, if you want to make timeless music, pull from everything, your pain, your joy, your fears, your faith. And now, that's exactly what TJ's doing. Tracks like Dream Girl and Obsession reflect that push to turn pain into something beautiful, just like Michael always did. And if you rewind all the way back to the Victory Tour, that tour was supposed to be Michael's big solo launch after Thriller. He could have gone off on his own and blown up even more, but he stayed loyal, performed with his brothers, and carried the weight of the whole family on his back. TJ says that decision summed up who Michael really was. Selfless, loyal, but behind the scenes, he was overworked, isolated, and crushed by pressure. TJ remembers family talks where Michael confessed he felt more like a product than a person, and in his final years, it only got worse. Michael once told his family, "They don't care about my health, they care about my numbers." That one line stuck with TJ, and it's the reason he now speaks out so fiercely against exploitative documentaries and legacy assassins. Michael wasn't some monster. He was a man who gave everything, his time, his love, his body, and they still broke him. Since Tito's sudden passing, the Jackson family has kept things low-key, a few quiet tributes on Instagram, a couple of vague statements to the press, but no sit-downs, no deep-dive interviews, that silence. TJ says it's on purpose, a way to protect the truth until the time is right, because TJ believes the industry that built Michael's legend also played a role in burying it. And now, with Tito gone, TJ is done playing it safe. He's calling for real truth and real healing. Whether that means unsealing hidden records, standing up to smear campaigns, or even pushing for independent investigations, TJ says the silence ends here. This ain't over, it's just beginning. In the wake of his father's death, TJ has vowed to carry the torch, not just musically, but spiritually and legally. A tribute album is already in the works, and insiders say some unheard conversations could finally be released. So no, this story isn't over, and as the world reaches 16 years since Michael's passing, TJ is making sure the real story gets told. Raw, unfiltered, undeniable. Behind the scenes, TJ's been building something intensely personal. A double tribute to both his father Tito and his uncle Michael. Sources close to the family say he's working on a full-length concept album, crafted from handwritten letters, voice memos, and never-before-heard conversations between the three of them. One track in particular is already sending chills. It reportedly features a reimagined voicemail from Tito, left just days before his death, set over a soft lo-fi beat with smooth nods to classic Jackson 5 chords and off-the-wall style ad-libs. This isn't just music, it's memory, it's legacy, and TJ's making sure it lasts. TJ never calls people out directly, but his interviews? Full of subtle clues. When asked if Michael's downfall was just self-inflicted or part of something bigger, TJ dropped a chilling line. He didn't die alone, he died surrounded. And that's the part, he says, that keeps him up at night. He brought up Michael's overwhelming contractual demands, especially that 50-show residency at London's O2 Arena. According to TJ, Michael never agreed to that many shows. At first, it was supposed to be just 10, but reports say AEG expanded the deal under heavy pressure. Then there's the money. How did a man who broke records and sold out stadiums end up allegedly hundreds of millions in debt when he died? TJ wants answers. Where did it all go? Who was signing the checks? Fans have been whispering about foul play for years, and TJ, he's not shutting any of it down. But this fight for Michael's legacy isn't just TJ's anymore. The next generation of Jacksons is already rising. TJ's home is full of young creatives, and they're not just kids, they're thinkers, artists, and game changers. His son, Royal, is rumored to be producing tracks for underground R&B acts in LA. Paris Jackson's been dropping emotional alt-rock records while standing strong online to protect her dad's name. Even TJ's youngest daughter is in on it, learning piano from Michael's actual old sheet music. Because for TJ, this isn't about chasing hits or making headlines. It's about reclaiming a name the media tried to erase, a name that was dragged through the mud, twisted, mocked, misunderstood. And Tito? His last public message before his death wasn't about drama or conspiracies. It was simple, heartfelt, a tribute to his brother Michael. It wasn't a goodbye. It was a promise. The legacy will live on. Please remember to do what our father always preached, and that is love one another. For TJ, those weren't just nice words. That was the mission. He says Tito spent the last years of his life trying to heal the cracks within the Jackson family, the ones between generations, between fame and privacy, between public shame and private truth. Now that Tito is gone, TJ says the weight feels even heavier. The responsibility isn't just about protecting Michael's truth, it's about guarding the soul of the entire Jackson legacy. Because Michael's story isn't just about music, it's about resilience. In the end, TJ says, the real legacy isn't the moonwalks, the Grammys, or the YouTube numbers. It's Michael's strength to keep giving love while being broken, to keep creating art when the world doubted him, to raise children in truth while the world tried to bury his name. And through it all, the Jacksons are still here, still parenting, still making music, still standing, and still telling their side raw and unfiltered. So as the industry pushes out more twisted headlines and money-hungry documentaries, TJ's answer is clear. We ain't done. Now you know the truth, or at least the closest we've come to it. Tito Jackson passed with the weight of his brother's story still on his back, but TJ's stepping up and carrying that truth forward. Through music, through family, through facts, and most importantly, through love. If this story hit home for you, smash that like button. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think Tito meant when he said they drained him dry? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. And yo, share this video with someone who still believes the real Michael deserves to be heard. We're just getting started. See you in the next one.